Salutations, crustaceans! I'm Lobster, and this is the brand new GB5 from Sire. Specifically, the GB5 FL 5-string. FL meaning fretless. Big thank you to Sire for providing us this bass. I really appreciate it. Now, the GB5 is a very interesting Sire because this is probably the most un-Sire we've ever seen in regards to their basses. They haven't really done an acoustic bass, and this is a take on their new G model, specifically their solid body acoustic style guitars. They have both a regular and a nylon string 6-string guitar, and this is the bass counterpart. The GB5 is described as the perfect counterpart to an acoustic guitar or a jazz session. Meant to emulate the sound of either an acoustic or an upright bass, the GB5 is definitely a purpose-built instrument. To understand that a bit more, let's go over the specs of our Sire GB5 FL. This bass features a mahogany body. This is a solid mahogany. It doesn't appear to be chambered. I can knock on it and it sounds pretty solid to me. And that mahogany body is paired with a spruce top to give it the acoustic guitar style. We don't have any visible pickups, we don't have a pick guard. This is a pretty simple and plain design, but I really like the body shape. I think it's a cool modern take on the acoustic guitar style. And then at the bridge, we have what appears to be a solid rosewood bridge with a bone saddle piece here. This is an acoustic guitar style bridge. It is string through body only, meaning that if you are going to buy strings, make sure that they are compatible to be strung through the body, because you cannot string through the bridge. Out of the factory, the Sire GB5 comes with D'Addario chromes. I wasn't really a fan of how they sounded on this, and I replaced them with the Labella Deep Talkin' flats. They're the through body models and the 5 strings. Gauges, was it 45 to 130? So that's what's currently on here. They're strung through the body, and for electronics, we have a piezo pickup here at the bridge. This is an interesting one because it's a single piezo pickup, and that is paired to a 3-band preamp right here on the side. This is an acoustic style preamp. We have a master volume control, a 3-band EQ, and a phase switch to give us a little bit of a different flavor. And then moving on to the neck, this is a mahogany neck with a rosewood fingerboard. We have a 34-inch scale, a 12-inch radius, a 46.5mm nut width, which I verified with a, a digital caliper, and we have a 20 fret range here on this fretless fingerboard. And the board, just like all other Sire fretless fingerboards, is coated, and it is a fantastic fingerboard. We also have the truss rod adjustment here at the bottom of the neck. This is typical of most bolt-on Sires, and this is in fact a bolt-on instrument. And then moving up to the headstock, we have a unique headstock. This is a typical-ish Sire headstock, but it is angled back, meaning we don't need a string tree, and they are using 3/8-inch tuners as opposed to 1/2-inch tuners. So they are a bit lighter, they're closed-case die-cast tuners, and they work really well. I suppose you could replace them with like a hip shot or something, but I don't think you're really going to be gaining much there, as opposed to with the larger size tuners that you see on the V-Series and the others. We also see the typical branding at the headstock saying Marcus Miller, the Sire logo, and that this is a GB5. Now let's go ahead and spin this bass around on our little turntable. Oh, bye, cat. Boop. So as this bass is spinning around, you can see that this is a gloss finish all around, except for the back of the neck, which is a satin finish, typical of most other Sires. Now, in regards to the bridge, we do not have any adjustable action. If you want to adjust the action, you have to take the strings off, remove the bone saddle piece, and file that down to your liking. However, what is sanded is sand done, and you cannot really undo what you've already done. So you may have to get another bridge piece if you accidentally mess up. And then moving around back, you can see that this is an interesting neck heel. This is Sire's acoustic style body, even though it is a solid body electric. We have a 4-screw neck attachment with a contoured and tilted neck heel for absolute comfort on the upper range. We also have 5 string ferrules to string through the body exclusively. We are not able to string through the bridge. Now, one kind of bummer about this in regards to just like quality of ownership and tuning and tinkering is we don't really have access to any piezo gain control, and it is a single piezo across all 5 strings. I know that a lot of the Ibanez basses that have piezo pickups actually have individual gain controls for each of the strings. However, we don't even have a single gain control here. We only have the 3-band preamp and the control plate up here. We don't have access to any of the insides of this bass, so what you get is what you get. We can also see the back of this stained mahogany neck here. That is a satin finish, and the closed case 3/8" tuners up at the headstock. We can also see that this is a bass that is produced in Indonesia like all the other Sires. For string spacing at the bridge, this is measuring in at around 17 millimeters, and you do have some adjustability in regards to this bridge piece. If you make a new one and make some like little ridges with a file, you can probably widen up the string spacing or narrow it if you so choose. And what does our Sire GB5 cost? Now the GB5, the 4-string fretted model, starts at $559. The 5-string does carry a $100 premium, so that is $659, and the fretless model carries an additional $100 premium. So this particular example comes in at $759. Overall, this is quite a lot cheaper than the Godin A4 or A5, which is now in the multi-$1,000 range. However, those I believe are produced in Canada, and these are produced in Indonesia. And how much does our Sire GB5 weigh? This particular example comes in at 9.2 pounds, which is, I would say, pretty average for just a regular bass. However, this is a solid mahogany bass, solid body, solid neck. So considering that, this is probably a bit on the lighter side. And one thing to also consider with this is the balance is very good. In fact, let me go ahead and show you. Sorry, Kitty, you go over here. Ah! Ow! Here we go. So in the lap, this is actually one of the best balanced Sires I've ever really encountered. You see it's really slow and dropping, and that's just because of, how it's positioned. I'm on the skinnier side, so your mileage may vary in regards to balance in the lap, but this is a very well balanced instrument. I don't find myself fighting the neck. I don't find myself thinking about like holding the neck. It's just there in my lap, and I can just play it as I want. And then with the strap, we don't really have any balance issues. You can see the neck going down a little bit, but when we're standing up, this is a pretty well balanced instrument. I think that because the neck is relatively long and kind of starts at the edge of the body, that you do get a little bit of neck dive. I don't think lighter tuners are really going to impact that much, but I do think that that's not really a detractor of this particular style instrument, given how small the body is, how long the neck is, and overall just how comfortable it is. Now, let's go ahead and plug in our Sire GB5 into the Ampeg Rocket. So that is the Sire GB5. What we heard was the preamp centered and the phase switch out. This is a boost and cut preamp, so we have a lot of flexibility in regards to the tone. We have a treble control, a mid control, and a bass control. And this is a different preamp than the regular Sire Heritage preamp that we get in the electric V-Series, the Z-Series, and some of the other basses. This is definitely a different flavor. Now, first thing I want to address in regards to the tone and playability. With the volume all the way down, can we play this bass acoustically? No, this is not an acoustic instrument, so our friend AMP will be very happy. This is a fully electric. However, it's meant to produce that like real acoustic sound or an upright sound. So let's turn the volume back up here. There we go. We also have this phase switch here that does alter the tone quite a bit. So here is how it is with the phase switch out. And then here's the phase switch in. Definitely a slightly different voice, and when you mess with the EQ, that becomes a bit more prominent. Let's press that again to have the phase switch back out, and let's mess with the EQ a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and fully cut everything. Here's what this sounds like at full cut. You really don't lose a lot of character with the preamp fully cut. You do definitely lose some oomph because, you know, your bass control and your mid control are cut, but it sounds pretty good still. So as you can hear, the B string is actually a little weak on this. That isn't really much of a problem once you have the EQ centered, but I feel like the B string is definitely impacted the most. Here's the EQ centered once more. So as you can hear, there is a bit of an output difference with this B string. I have replaced these strings and I did get that same thing with the stock D'Addarios. I'm thinking it has to do with the positioning of the piezo. That's just a guess though, I can't say for certain. Wondering if a wider piezo or a different unit would help. This is kind of why I like the Ibanez implementation, where they have individual piezos per string and individual gain controls, allowing you to even things out. Like if you had a weaker B string, you can use the gain control to compensate. So kind of bummed to see that here. Now let's just have the bass control at center. Everything else is at full cut. And let's boost our bass a bit to about 50%. A very nice upright tone. You still have that warmth and that roundness. It's definitely not like the acoustic-y style tone that you get with the treble and the mid-centered. But now let's take our bass control all the way down to full cut and center our mid control. So the treble is at full cut and the bass is at full cut. A very nice warm tone. Let's boost our mids to about 50% now. And let's add some bass to that with the mids at 50% boost. Here's the bass center. Yeah. A very just beautiful tone out of this. Let's go ahead and cut everything once more and bring our treble up to center. So as you can hear, there's not really a lot of oomph. That's because this is just the treble control. However, this is really what controls that acoustic-y vibe, that like string noise and that high end that you really don't get with the more like larger uprights, and this can kind of emulate both, at least to a solid enough degree. So let's boost our treble to 50%. Here's what that sounds like. And now let's bring our bass control up to center, leaving our mids at full cut. And let's cut our bass and bring our mids up to center with our treble boosted. And let's boost our mids too to about 50% and bring our bass up to center. Playing with fire now. So that is a much brighter tone with the mids and the treble boosted. But keeping that boosted, let's hear what the phase switch does one more time. So I'm going to keep the phase switch pushed in. I'm going to give us a 50% treble cut, and here's what this sounds like with a pick. Okay, enough of this business. Does it slap? No. No, this is not a slapper. This is meant for beautiful fretless playing. And that's what we're going to continue to do, except now we're going to move over to our Trickfish amp back here and all the fun little effects. Yay! Oh, this is fun. So I'm just going to leave these settings as is. I think it sounds good. In fact, I'm just going to give us a little bit of a bass boost and a little mid cut. Here we go. Now, first up in our effects chain is our Big Muff. Boop. That was something. I'm not sure what, but it was there. Next up is our Poly Blue Octaver. Okay, enough of that. Now chorus time. So for this, I'm actually gonna boost our mids to about 50%, center our bass, and fully cut our treble. Sorry. I'm not sorry. And next up is a new addition. This is our Strymon Cloudburst Ambient Reverb. This thing is fun. That's a nice pedal. Now, I like to combine that one with our Microcosm. That was nice. Now, before we finish up our little playing session, let's put together a little drum beat and play along to it, maybe with some keys and stuff. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. So here are my final thoughts on our Sire GB5 Fretless. This is the top of the line GB model with the fretless fingerboard and the 5-string configuration. Personally, I would probably go for the 4-string, as the 5-string has a lackluster B-string output. I'm thinking perhaps a wider piezo unit would combat that, or individual gain controls, but that would require an individual piezo for each string. And unfortunately, we really don't have access to any of the electronics or anything other than the screws to hold down the preamp over here. But we don't have any control cavity, we don't have any little gain trim pots, we really don't have anything to service the piezos. So if we do have any issues, that would require taking this instrument apart in a big way. That being said, everything else is typical Sire. We have the truss rod adjustment at the heel of the neck, making for easy adjustments. We have the coated fingerboard, which sounds and plays great. And just the overall vibe of this instrument is absolutely nailing it for what its purpose is. Again, this is gearing to be more of an upright style or an acoustic style bass. However, as you heard, you really can't play it acoustically. This is an electric only instrument, but it does nail that vibe. So if you play in an acoustic group, a jazz group, something that has an upright, but you don't want to lug around a huge upright, this should definitely be on your radar, as, you know, 559, 659, or 759, depending on the configurations, is a pretty good price point for what this is offering. My two major criticisms here are lack of serviceability for the piezo, as well as lack of coverage for that B string with that piezo. Again, I think that's what it is with the low B string output. Overall, I can absolutely recommend the GB series if you're looking for an acoustic style instrument to fit in with an acoustic mix, or a jazz mix, or anything again that wants to sound like an upright. But I would probably recommend the 4-string over the 5-string. I think they've absolutely succeeded in regards to their tonal targets, but I think some quality of life upgrades in regards to the piezo and accessibility and maintenance for that would be a nice plus on this particular instrument, because this plays great, it sounds great, and I would like to be able to maintain it a little bit more thoroughly. But those are my thoughts on the Sire GB5. Again, a very stellar bass that I've had a lot of fun playing. I hope a second generation will allow us more accessibility to the piezos, as well as a wider bridge to accommodate a wider piezo and a better B string. I don't think the 4 strings are going to be impacted by that, but that's just my overall thoughts of the Sire GB5 here. Again, big thank you to Sire for providing this bass for this review. We always really appreciate it. And let me know what you think about our Sire GB5 down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching this video. I know these are getting a bit long, but we're having fun here, so. But yeah, let me know what you think about the video down in the comments below, and until we groove again.